Is up with this music? It said it was supposed to be EDM, and this is like freaking Pirates of the Caribbean. Welcome. Glad you could come hang out with me today. Pre-meetup. I have another meetup tonight. I have meetups all the time, I guess. We have machine learning meetup tonight. Should be super awesome. But my dogs are rolling around on the floor. It's adorable. But well, before we get started, I might as well keep working on the Rustings. Hey, bud. Get there. Last time he literally sat on my lap for like half the stream, so let's not do that. Okay. So we are on exercise semantics 2. And semantics 2 failed. And it has something to do with immutability. And the fact that when we pass this vector, right? From what I understood, I was reading the book about like mutability and like ownership. Reading the book about ownership, and I guess I should have put that I was on Twitch on all of the things instead of just Twitter. Yeah, like there's a certain amount of just everything's a pointer. And once you reference it, you basically, it's almost like they don't store it across multiple locations of bytes, right? They either point to the new location through a reference, or they physically move it to the new slice of bytes and delete the old one, and so the old thing no longer exists. And so, like, I mean, I know how to make it work, but, like, the long way of making it work does not seem like the most fun way of making it work. Like, and they had a thing for that. They had, an example of this edge of your dangle code, where you return a reference to the string. Yeah, this is a reference, and this is a reference, which isn't a pointer. Return. Though they literally, I swear it was this page that had the exact error that I have on my, thing. On vec does not implement the copy trait. Value borrow here after move. Like, this is in there, and it has something to do with, like, copy or something. Like, I swear. Was it in ownership? Yeah, right here. See, value. The string does not implement the copy trait. This is my exact error, and it just throws me off a little bit because they're doing it on a slice. We have heard the term shallow copy and deep copy while working in other languages. Oh, if you've heard. I have never heard of it. Because why? Because Go's amazing and doesn't require that. Right, Lulu? Oh, my goodness, welcome back. It's like you didn't even go to sleep in the last 24 hours, Casiris. I gave up. I either have to do it, if I want to solve this problem, I have to care about ownership. That's like where I'm at right now. It's like, skip it or not. And it's like, I'm not like a skip it person, I'm just like a give up completely person. I will just give up on Rust entirely. Because I don't want to deal with ownership. Isn't that like super petty? The copy, the pointer link. Yeah. But because Rust also invalidates the first variable, instead of being called a shallow copy, it's known as a move. So Rust doesn't copy. No copies in Rust. So this is what actually happens. That solves our problem, so only S2 is valid. When it goes out of scope, it alone will free the memory and we are done. So like 2 hours, when you say couple, you mean 2, right? So this no longer is like, it's literally 1. Like, essentially it's saying, well here. I'm not supposed to change the line, but I can do this. Like, this'll work. Again. I'm probably cheating. But what if I don't pass it? What if I say, well... 2 to 3 hours? How on earth? I can't even... I can... You must invoke the macro? Good to know. Oh, well, this should be old. Um... 2 to 3 hours is rough. I don't think I've ever run on that little sleep. Ever in my entire life. Vec is mutable. What you talking about? Vec cannot borrow as mutable? Are you saying I have to, like, cause this is dumb. Those are... Nightbot likes to know what DJ Khaled's words of wisdom are. And so... Yes. Maybe you'll sleep more if you had a hammock. Hold over or not. Well, it was mute. Yeah. Right? Oh, is this in Semantics 3? Yeah, but I didn't solve it. I just cheated. I feel like I just cheated. I feel like I just cheated. Even though I'm not allowed to change the following line. So I still cheated. See, I told you, I just keep cheating. And like, something is clearly just going... I could literally solve this problem 12 different ways at this point. I've gone through all of the ways to do it, and they always involve changing line 11. Right. In addition... What? With only... Okay, I still... In this example, we say S1 is moved to S3, so what actually happens is... They have the same... Okay, that solves our problem. With only S2 valued, when it goes out of scopes, it alone will free the memory, and so we're done. Wait. So you're saying... So, instead of doing this... Which is fine. I should be able to do this. And it will free my memory. Because that seems... What? That was... That... No. No, my speaker didn't show up to the meetup last night. That was the first time. I've ran 4 meetups for over 2 years. And in 2 years of running 4 meetups, I have never not... That was the first time. First time in 2 years that we've been without a speaker. It was really interesting. I mean, we had the meetup. We talked about building CLI apps in Go, which is... I don't know. Like, useful, I get. Well, I don't know. I feel like nobody wants to build CLI apps anymore. They only want to build APIs. It's like CLI apps are the way of the past, unless you're Kubernetes. But yeah, the speaker never showed up. I guess he was just. Well, it turns out Sri Lanka's on a 12-hour just like disparity. So like his 6:30 p.m. was my 6:30. No, my 6:30 p.m. was his 6:30 a.m. And so like he would have to be on like one of the, I don't know. But if he works for an American company, then there's a good chance that they're rude and make them work the off hours, and then they don't sleep like you. And you know, now we're back to where we were before. Well, now Vec's not mutable. Didn't it? Yeah. Make this compile without adding new lines. Just change the existing lines. Well, can I make this mutable here? That was a guess. Complete guess. No clue if that can actually happen. Obviously not. That's probably in the slice thing though, because now we're talking about pushing on mutable slices and what's not. What if we made it a reference? Well, no worries, you didn't miss much since the speaker didn't show up. And considering that you don't sleep, I give you a pass just to sleep at all. Because you should definitely sleep, like, all the hours. I don't know. I'm an advocate for sleeping. I sleep like every hour a day. Not every, but at least 8. If I could, I would definitely. Sometimes I sleep 8 hours and then I take a nap. Sometimes I sleep 10 hours and take a nap. So I am a fan of sleeping. Oh, interesting. Where are we at the first words? And then, no, second word. So we've got a word, a second string, slices. But I do have another meetup tonight. And that meetup is Machine Learning for Humanitarian Good. Which the title in itself has been getting people excited for way too long. So we'll see what happens. S, a string as bytes. It'd be return I to A, the index, but we're not actually editing it. Returning the second word, slice. Immutable borrow occurs here. Clear error. Mutable borrow occurs here. Immutable. Recall from borrowing rules that if we have an immutable reference to something, we cannot also make a mutable reference. Also, clear needs to truncate the string. I'm wondering if it needs to be. Obviously, I can't do that, but like, can I make it a reference? I don't actually know what the syntax for that is. And then I make this a reference. Like, how do we make parameters mutable? Arguments mutable? This is an argument now, because we named it. Cannot borrow back as mutable, as it is not declared as mutable. Yeah, I know, but I was trying to declare it as mutable. And you didn't let me, so. Right? So obviously I am looking at the wrong thing. No, I don't want to look at mutability in your magic generics pattern. Dereferencing. Cannot borrow something as mutable as it is behind a reference. Oh, great. See, look! They're trying to do the same thing I was doing. Just as variables are immutable by default, so are references. They're not allowed to modify something we have a reference to. See? Oh, look, they put it in two places. Right? So they have a mutable in front of here. And then they have a mutable in front of here, which is where I put it the other time. Cannot borrow as... Okay. I'm still not convinced. That wouldn't do anything. But mutable references have one big restriction. They can only have one mutable reference to a particular piece of data in a particular scope. This code will fail. Great. No problem, big problem. 'Cause there's more than one. Yes. Well, what do they talk about arguments in this section? String from hello. I thought I already looked at this section. They're not giving me the same copy error, are they? Cannot borrow as mutable. Cannot borrow as mutable. Cannot borrow as mutable. Maybe consider changing this to mute vec. It's definitely not running my thing. Probably because it literally is telling me to do this. I did that, and it's not... Am I on the wrong... No, I am on the right file. Oh my goodness. Oh, I need to do this. Had I just like scrolled up and it wasn't giving me anything new? I bet you that's what was actually happening. Probably. Look at all these things I did. I'm so proud of myself. Look, I actually won. I win. I win! What? See, now they're on the next one because I won. Don't ever have messages up. That did not work how I wanted it to. I think I just hit Command Tab instead of Control W, and it did not work, and I sent some BIM commands to my sister in a text. Well, I didn't expect 0 arguments. Vec is not a value. No, but it did talk about this in the thing. And this was on the references and borrowing. Down at the very bottom. Dangling references. It was like in the part that I was talking about. First string. Second string. Dangle that let string equals that from hello. As static. Machine learning for humanitarian good is the name of the meetup that I have tonight. Machine learning for world domination is what most militaries do, as well as most national governments. People are worried about biochemical wars. I think that they're just going to be sending, like, ML bots against each other, and governments will all become figments of our imagination. They'll just be bots. And we'll just keep on living our life without knowing any difference. No, so yeah, it's machine learning for humanitarian good. Gets people excited because it's nice to know that the world's not being taken over. I've heard of some pretty good ones, like building an app that can run on your cell phone that can detect if, like, plants are sick or not for, like, farmers in developing countries who are learning how to farm or getting out of the subsistence farm cycle. And so by using these models to determine if plants are quickly, they don't have to receive, they can be enabled to earn money without requiring a specialized education. It allows them to grow more crops because they could harvest the diseased ones early and replant, etc. Give ownership goes here. Well, this is still scoping. They literally said, consider giving Vec the explicit .t parameter. Yeah, well, that just makes it generic. Vec is not a value, but if we do this, so is. But it expected something else. See? That's cheating. This must be part of this part up here, where all I had to do was make it mutable. Calculate string. But what do you do when it doesn't expect anything? See, and if you can't look it up, is it a well-designed problem? That's my problem with all collegiate homework. Is all they do is they say, here are book examples, go figure it out. And they're always like, never, you can't do anything with it. Maybe that was just math and physics where you just kind of were like, well, that's an illegal assumption. Dangle returns a reference to a string. S is a string. Yeah, well, I know I'm not defining anything. Do I need to, like, go define a vec? I'm not accepting an argument, so why am I even doing that? Why don't I just do let vec equal new vec, right? Like, is this what they're, like... What? You can't infer type on line 8? Oh, yeah? That was, I heard, I was on a panel with somebody the other day, and they were using machine learning. Their whole company was using machine learning to develop like physical therapy treatments for like extreme cases, like the abnormal ones that you don't see every day. And they had like a product for it and everything. And then there was somebody else that was doing a machine learning with AR for object detection. I don't forgot what her clients normally did. But yeah, there's like, once you start doing like AR, VR stuff, like the applications explode. That was probably really loud. So it doesn't like this. So, like, but where would we put the argument? Refactor this code. Instead of having vec0 and creating a vector in fmn, we'll create it in a fillFN and transfer the freshly created fillvec to its caller. Yeah. Well, now I don't need this. Like, at all, because I don't use it. I can delete lines now. Whew! That was nice. The things you can do with machine learning is like super incredible. Yeah. Medical stuff's crazy. The problem with medical things is the data management and the restrictions there, and people don't want to give their medical data to science, right? Like, machine learning is science, right? Like, they don't want to give their medical data to science, and it's really hard to anonymize. And, I mean, and it's not like they're going to be, like, stalking them down and say, you have a rare disease or whatever. But, yeah, that's the one, like, we could be doing so many things with machine learning if people were just not scared of giving up their data. Like, you know, just had a little faith in science. But yeah, like, even when you start looking at the things that they're trying to do with, like, self-driving cars or object detection or, like, pattern tracing, like, you could start doing, like, if you really want it, you could start doing developing country markets, tracking their economics, looking for, like, flaws, up and downs. You could start tracking weather things, like, mapping weathers to, like, any kinds of economic catastrophes, right? Especially for things that are agriculturally based, that are based on weather, right? Like, a major storm could wipe out a banana population in Honduras, and then they'd have an economical failure. And, like, if machine learning can help with all that kind of stuff, if we're willing to, like, be okay with people having data and using data, and it's like, rrr. Well, yeah, there are tons of strategies and methods, but when it comes down to it, like, there are rules in place, and it's like, of course we would make it anonymized, but we just can't do it unless you say it's okay. Like, even if it's anonymized, I can't have your data unless you say it's okay. Like, that's kind of how, yeah. There are lots of, yeah, there are tons of strategies for anonymization or federation, decentralized machine learning, encrypted machine learning, using blockchain to do it. Like, you could go to so many different things to not give the machine the ability to know who you are, right? Like, if that's what you're scared, is a computer knows who you are? Yes, they have no idea what's in their data. That's for dang sure. But yeah, it's just like, I mean, that's all people do all day is figure out ways to protect people's data and make it anonymized and make it so some dumb bot can't figure out who you are. But it's not the dumb bots we're worried about, it's the people who work on them. And I mean, that's not what we're scared of. We're scared of the bots and now, you know, Google having my data. But Google's not a person. Google's an amorphous thing, right? Like, but if you give your information to, you know, the same people who are scared of giving out their data will give out their social security number on a scammer phone call, usually. So it's like, yeah. The people are the ones you shouldn't be trusting, not the bots. The people behind the bots sometimes, but, you know, like, oh my gosh, I don't remember when it was, like, 4 years ago, I went to Google's API, and I was like, okay, Google, I want to download all the data you have on me, because, like, they have it categorized, and they had it, whatever, it's like, 40 gigabytes later, and I was like, half of this stuff is videos I uploaded to YouTube. Like, this is worthless. Yeah, like, Google has everything, and I give them more voluntarily. I'll tell this more. I've said this once, and I'll say it again. I have my Google location tracking on intentionally, so that if I ever go missing, because there are people out there I don't trust, anybody with any of my trusted close circle who has my password can log in, get my last location, and give it to the freaking police who can, like, go figure out where I was last. Like, I don't know. I think it's great to give people your data. But I'm like, yeah. I always want more data. That's just it's because I work with data all day, every day. More data. Okay, fill in the rest of the line that has missing code. No hints, no tricks. Just get used to typing these. Is evening equal true? Like, that's literally what you want me to do? Like, that's what you wanted me to do. Okay, that was dumb. But this is primitive types, which means learn how to define types. How many? There are so many of these, like, dumb folders. So many exercises. And they don't even give you a certificate when you're done. I'm gonna have to make one. I'll make a certificate, and I'll upload it to the Rustings folder, and everybody who finishes it, or doesn't finish it, or access it, I'll make a certificate, I'll put it on my wall, and then I'll share it I'll do a PR to Rustings, and I'll say I contributed to Golden Source. I don't use Google. You're a Google hater. But 99% of the Google has anyway because they use services that use the power systems of the cloud. Yeah. I mean, you can... You cannot trust Google. My sister did go on a rant once. They were complaining about like Google Home and how Google like shares your data with everyone, and she heard on some podcast that you should never get Google Home because they listen to you all the time and then share everything with everyone and sell your data. I'm like, well, Google's been selling your data for a lot longer. No, I noticed your quotes. I knew that you weren't quoting yourself. I mean, you were quoting the masses. Anyway, but she was saying, oh, it's a good thing I got her Alexa because Amazon doesn't sell her data. And I'm sitting there like, no, Amazon just uses your data to sell you other things. Like, and Google doesn't sell your data. They sell the insights from your data. Like, you know, like, they're not selling your home address, your favorite conversation. They're doing what everybody else does and every single app with a microphone does. And they're optimizing things to make money in other ways. Like, yeah, it's... You can rant about data all day, every day. I will go on with you. This is like what I do. Data is my favorite. I don't even know why. But I am definitely a fan. What's your favorite character? Like, any, like, weird ASCII characters type thing? I don't know. My favorite number is 7. Okay, great. Primitive types 3. But yeah, no. And she got all of that stuff from a podcast about Google and what they do. And I was just rolled my eyes and I said, I'm glad you like your Christmas present, you know. Just like, come on. And of course, because she's my older sister, she wouldn't let me, who works with data every day, explain it to her because she already knew everything. She listened to the podcast. And I'm like, humble pie, please. Can I give you some humble pie, please? I wonder, I don't think people use that expression anymore, humble pie. I thought about it earlier this week. Especially when I act fake conceited, which is really funny to me. I don't know, I create an array with at least 100 elements in it where the question mark is. Oh, oh my goodness. I love 5G. People have conspiracy theories about 5G. That is amazing. We're gonna freak ourselves out by inventing things and putting them on the internet that we're afraid of. Faster than we do anything else. That's just, oh my gosh. I have not heard about 5G giving people COVID. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that's great. Where'd the primitive stuff go? They wouldn't do arrays after, I mean, slices were down here. So, if they were defining and instantiating structs, programming structs, packing crates, defining a model, sorting bus, Rusters. Back when 5G started, people were burning. Yeah, I don't. Did I miss the part where they're like primitives? I'll just go to the part that said arrays. I don't know. I didn't feel like they acted that way when 4G came out. Like, it's not that hard. I can define an empty one, right? Like, I can just say array x big. Right? I can define it without, like, instantiating it. Well, I'm glad I don't pay attention to those crazies. They can go back, well, they probably don't even, I mean, there's one of those rules of the internet that states that, yeah, there's always a conspiracy theory about it. Yeah, but I should be able to, just like anything. How come we did slices before we did arrays? Because another way to collect the multi-value is with an array. Like a tuple, every element in... Oh, because they have vectors, which are their fake slices. Yeah, I think there's conspiracy theories about everything, and it's mostly because it gives people something to do, because... You know, before there were conspiracy theories, essentially what we did was we worked all day to farm food, or, you know, like, back when we literally had to fight to survive, and now that we're, living modestly, we have incomes, plenty of food, we can invent things because we're not trying to just literally be alive every day. Worried about famine and the plague and whether our crop yields will feed us over the next winter. So, guess we don't need conspiracy theories for that. Let element A index. Something like that. I'm just trying to copy and paste. I'm scrolling through all of this so I can copy and paste my array. 'Cause why? I like how the copy has the main in it. Doesn't run without the main though. So it has to have at least 100 elements. No, it doesn't. Watch, this will compile. I've given up in spirit and not in practice. What are you talking about? This literally, the whole existence of this section is learn how to write Rust the right way. I guess, yeah, I'm not building anything yet. All I'm trying to do is figure out their dumb syntax. I shouldn't say dumb syntax. Rust syntax is very important. Writing an array this way looks similar to an alternate syntax. If you want to create an array that contains the same value of element for so many... Oh, this is what I wanted. This is what I was looking for the whole time. I just didn't read it. Right? So, I want to create... Is this of threes? Yeah, this right there. This will create an array that will contain 5 elements, and it'll be 5 threes, right? Like, I used to do this all the time back in physics class. Isn't that funny? We would initialize arrays. Arrays, by arrays I mean write and copy paste are not interchangeable in this context. What? If I want to learn how to write Rust the right way, I can totally copy and paste my way out of it. I don't know what you're talking about. I can do whatever I want. I can copy and paste my way out of all problems. See? That works. And I copy and pasted the right thing. Now, back in the physics days, we would always have like 100 and plus sized two-dimensional arrays, and we would always fill them with zeros, and then we would have to write functions to fill them with numbers, and then write functions to operate on them. And then those functions that we write would approximate actual mathematical functions to write actual partial that approximated through several iterations partial differential equations. And so why do arrays if you're not doing partial differential equations? That's it. They now have no use outside of mathematical context. Get a slice out of array where the question mark is. Oh, I have to take an array and make a slice? Accessing array elements. Invalid array element access. Here's a slice type. String slices. What does it even have the word array here? Well, if you're a physicist, you definitely need that skill. The good news is as let bytes equals s of bytes. Oh, that enumerates it. Yeah. The thing is we have created a system where we have made it impossible to be an academic physicist. You can't make any money being a physicist any other way. What is the use of doing private physics research? Because there's nothing new to discover because we won't fund it. Like, if it does not involve quantum computing, nuclear warfare, and or any other military need, we won't fund it privately, so you still can't make any money as a physicist. So you should either be an engineer at NASA or a programmer, right? Like, that's what the best use of your physics education is writing code. We might just want part of a string array to string slices. String slices, as you might imagine, are specific to strings, but more general slice too. Consider the array. That's array. You, just as we might want to refer to part of a string, you might want to refer to a part of array. This slice has the type pointer. Array 1 to 3. It works the same as a string slice too, but storing reference to the first element and length. So, they literally... CERN would like to talk to me. What do you think CERN is doing? They're splitting atoms. That is literally the definition of nuclear physics. We just have retitled it. Well, they're literally trying to split protons now. High energy physics, which makes it sound less explode the world. But CERN is on the back of nuclear warfare. And most of the people employed at CERN, software engineers, because the physicists can't do anything if they do not have algorithms that interpret their data, pipes to pipe in their data. They can't, like, it's all soft. It's a big ol', who cares about the actual physical atoms if we can't figure out what they mean, and you have to have, like, 3,000 software engineers doing it. I actually have a friend, a Twitter friend, who does Go programming, and is a physicist at CERN, and has several libraries, Go libraries, for doing physics. But yeah, like, that's what he does all day, is write software. So, CERN, is it really physics, or is it a giant software machine? I also have a friend who was a data engineer at CERN, and that's, like, literally where he got started, and now he lives in the United States. Do they, though? The physicists think they're building the hardware. Like, you're right, there's infrastructure engineers, there's hardware engineers, there's a whole bunch of people in there that are not physicists building to the great CERN thing. Oh, so they want me to have can it just be 2 through... Oh, does it start at 0? Right? Like, to me, this would be the same. But I have no guarantee that it starts at index 0 or index 1. Wait. I did that wrong. Oh, I need to say... Yeah, I did it. This slice has a type pointer to I-32, which is the same strings like do, but storing the reference to the first element and a length. So it does want me to reference that? Yeah, my friend who's this software engineer at unknown, his LinkedIn does say unknown. Oh, now am I on the quiz? Did I finally get to the quiz? What? Running test, slice array failed. That must not be in this one. Oh, that is the assert equal. Oh, so it needs to be 1 to 4? You're not even allowed to have LinkedIn? Well, then you must work for scary people. Well, he works at... His LinkedIn does say undisclosed. So he's not allowed to tell people where he works. I guess, I don't know, or he chooses not to. He's on several physics papers in physics journals because of the work he did in software to contribute to the discovery of random new particles. So, you know. And the high energy physics papers usually name like 40, 50, 60 people who contributed to whatever was written about in that paper. And that's like everybody from like the physicist who wrote it to the janitor that cleaned the particle accelerator. Which is just funny to me. Like, that they feel that that is the spirit of open source in physics. Is like, no, half of the people don't care. I'd say. I worked on yeah, well, do you know how many people work on naval bases? Everybody from the CIA till janitors work on naval bases, so, you know, whatever you want that to mean. Destructure the cat tuple so that the println will work. Cat. Let cat Furry McPherson 35. That's what I'm saying. Janitors are always the scary ones in, like, the horror movies, right? Like, no, not the horror movies, the murder shows. Or is that, like, the teen dramas where the janitors are scary? I don't know. Janitors are supposed to be something, right? They did have tuples somewhere. Tuple. Let tuple, and then they have let x, y, z equals tuple. So this is how you deconstruct it. And so I need to deconstruct it into name and age. Name and age. Last time I did tuples, I was pretending to know Java. Don't know Java. But it was fun to pretend to know Java. That way I could pretend to write data pipelines on Apache products. Apache didn't have products. They have projects that are open source. Oh, look, did that work? Yay. No, it didn't. Wait, oh, it's still not, I'm not at the bottom, so it's not, like, auto-scrolling for me. My LinkedIn would be worded as redacted at redacted, but well, that's scary. Maybe that's why you don't get any sleep. Because they would kill you if you did. Just like they would kill you if they told you, if you said all... Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm also quoting the movies where they're like, if I told you, I'd have to kill you, right? That kind of a thing. So, replace the question marks with a tuple index syntax. The second. Assert 2 equals the second. I'm on Twitch, so obviously, and I talk about where I work all the time. I don't have that same situation you do. It's a period. Cool. It looks like it does start at index 0, so it would be numbers dot 1. Look at how good I'm doing at reading. I'm reading all of the things. Ooh, that's new. Yeah, that's literally like 90% of the people that sign NDAs. I was trying to get somebody from Google Brain to come speak at my machine learning meetup. And he literally said, I cannot talk about anything I'm working on. I'm like, well, then what can you talk about? He's like, well, what do you want to know? I'm like, what you're working on? He's like, I can't talk about that. And it's just like, oh my gosh. Ruin my day. See, but I don't even know where you work to be curious, so we're probably good with that. Disney NDA until 2030. Whoa, that's rough. But Disney's got some great secrets in there. Like, if you want... All mega corporations have great secrets, and Disney literally is like... They might not be the most highly valued, but considering all of their recent acquisitions that they've made, like, they are, like... mecca, like, of mega company, like, it's super conglomerates. And probably what affects their valuation is the fact that they spend billions of dollars every year to produce stuff. I feel like a movie production company like Disney would have a much higher burn rate than a software company. I don't know. I feel like movies are a little bit riskier than deploying to GCP. I don't know. Mostly because it's still on your gut. I feel like they do movie business based on your gut, not so much on data. Oh, look, that looks pretty normal. Structs, defining structs look super normal. Well, I shouldn't say normal. I don't know what normal is. It looks like Go. Normal is like what I think of when I do Go. Oh, there's like a ton of this is like the longest to-do file ever. Should we go start my meetup? It's about time to press that button. Yeah, they got a ton of stuff going on at the parks too, especially once people learn that they have a secret network of tunnels. That's how you know that, like, it's crazy. Cool. And that is my calendar letting me know that there's 30 minutes to my meetup. Utilidors? Yeah. Disney's crazy. If you want to talk about conspiracy theories, we could probably start at Disney and find us a good 7, 8, 9,000 conspiracy theories all around that. To do something here. Color classic struct. What? Yeah, great. So they want there to be... Yeah. We need to have... Oh, gosh. Some kind of... I'm on insert mode. Oh, I never assumed that he would be... Yeah, that cryo stuff is ridiculous, but yeah. Well, Disney has too many conspiracy theories. I think that has a lot to do with its popularity. Like, everybody. I have a brother-in-law who I swear, like, is only happy when he's at Disneyland. It's just like, you know, just like some people are like, it really does mean something to some people. And so if you're gonna have something that is that positive in people's lives, then there has to be a conspiracy. You know, then there's somebody's gonna automatically assume the worst of that exact same thing. Yeah. 100%. It's, see? And now they're using commas, not semicolons? What kind of syntax world is this? Like, yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I guess there aren't a lot of... how many conspiracies have been proven, right? So it's like, how can you... Yeah, it's hard to trust them because of that. So I know I need a name and a hex. And that seems to be the only thing I need so far. Struct, color, tuple, struct. To do something goes here. What the heck is a tuple struct? Okay, Nightbot, that's probably the most random Khalid wisdom. Okay, I haven't seen any non-random Khalid wisdoms. Defining and instantiating structs, but where's this, like, tuple struct? Right? Like, structs are similar to tuples. Oh, is it saying I'm supposed to, instead of doing a struct? No, because I'm still doing, like, it's still a struct. Oh, like this? Using tuple structs without named fields to create different types. That's what they were saying. They're like, okay, do the exact same thing you did, just don't name the fields. And then we're gonna make sure that they match. Right, Lulu? She looked at me. Yeah, so it must have... This would be a what is a tuple struct? Tuple struct. You know, if I learn enough Rust jargon, then I can go show up in all of the Rust online forum channels and sound really smart. Instantiate the classic struct. Okay, back. Let equal classic color struct. Cool. And then this goes end semicolon. And then we'll have name equal, and they use colons. Yeah. String from green. That's really funny that you can't just do like this. String colon from green, comma, hex, string, I don't know why I always do capital T, from, what was that hex? Can I, does typing practice count as copy and paste here? I want you to know that in elementary school, last time I did typing practice, I'm pretty sure it was in elementary school, because my computer class in junior high was literally MS Paint. I was really good at getting a third of the way through it, and then, like, as long as it was on the same row, I was coordinated enough to do it without looking. But once it got out of the same row, like, my coordination failed and I had to look at the keyboard. And I wasn't able to type without looking at the keyboard until I became a software developer. So I was not able to overcome my lack of finger, can I say phalangeal coordination? I was not able to overcome my lack of phalangeal coordination until it became my job and there was money involved. To do, instantiate a tuple struct. So I guess that just means I'll do anything for money. This would be colored tuple struct, and this will be green, comma, I think I need a semicolon at the end. I do. Green is not found in scope. What? Green's right there. What do you mean that's not found in scope? I didn't set that up right. let user equal, let green equal that from there. What? Green not found. Green is literally right here. Oh, stupid scroller wheel. My scroller wheel is the worst. Okay, well now we're on line 43. Well, we haven't even... If you messed up your hand position... Well, the thing that freaks me out is the keyboards without letters on them. Because people can do that, right? The idea of... And you probably have them. But, you know where everything is so well that you just hit them because you're used to that position. I need the keyboard. I need the letters. Like, I need to be able to reset and know it's okay. And, have that fallback. If I didn't have the letters, enough to, it would really, I don't know, mess with my head. Instantiate a unit struct. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people do that, and I'm just I will never be at that skill level. I'm never going to be the fastest typer because of phalangeal coordination. Oh, yes. Typing in. That's the one thing I did in college when I pretended to double major in Spanish. I was a declared double major, and then I removed my double major to graduate a year early. I did like about Max is it was way easier to insert Spanish, the Spanish language accents, using the option key than looking up all of the alt codes on a Windows machine. So, ooh, that's a yawn. Yeah, English, yeah. I guess that is a benefit of not having letters on your key. You could map, you could technically, you wouldn't be tied down to a specific language. Yeah, but I'm trying. Unit like structs with, you can also define structs that don't have any field. These are unit structs. Because they behave similarly to the unit type. Unit-like structs can be useful in situations in which you need to implement traits on some type and don't have any data you want to store in the type itself. We'll discuss traits in 7. In 7, that's 10. When did traits come up? I feel like they came up in a past chapter and they're like, go to 10. Okay, yeah, but they did not give me an example program using structs. Does this have unit structs? Refactoring with tuple, blah blah blah. Using functionality and derived traits. Rectangle has... I want the unit one. Unit. There's no unit here. There's no unit example. What good is it to me? I don't know what I just did. Yeah, expected something. Then what I'm trying to do right now? Yeah. Well, I need to step out for a minute. I'll be back. And I haven't had anyone try and join the meet. So sometimes speakers show up on time. But we'll probably head out for today, and that way I can just go to my meetup. I should be back. Look at that. We've just got like 2 pictures here. So I should be back tomorrow. A little later, but never past your bedtime, Casiris. And we will no rest tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna try and figure out why I can't deploy anything ever. So, see you guys tomorrow.